What I got here is something that's probably worth over $1 million that the federal government could be paying to you.
Okay, you sound like a salesman. Let's go ahead.
It's a U.S.-Mexican War Promissory Note with compounded interest over the last 160 years.
The United States promises to pay Mr. D.
It's either nuts or huts. I haven't been able to figure it out.
It looks like nuts. I'm really hoping that's an H and not an N.
The reason why I came in the pawn shop here today was to sell my U.S.-Mexican War Promissory Note from 1847. My dad had purchased an old colonial house, and it was found in a cigar box. I'm looking at getting about $6,000. Half of it is going to go to a ring for my wife because she never had a diamond ring when we got married, and the other half is going to go to me.
It's really interesting. I mean, the neat thing is it's during the Mexican-American War. It's sort of sad, this country. Most people don't even know that we went to war with Mexico. The entire West was owned by Mexico, but they really didn't occupy it. And we actually offered to buy it off them. They said no, and then I'm sure the Mexicans said the Americans shot, we said the Mexicans shot. Next thing you know, we ended up having a war break out. The Mexican-American War started over a dispute on what was the boundary between Texas and Mexico. And what a lot of people don't realize about this war, it shaped the United States. So how much were you looking to get out of these?
Well, if we go the interest route, let's split it in half. I'll take half. If it doesn't have the interest, how about $6,000?
I'm intrigued by this right here because I know that any bond issued by the U.S. government after we had a constitution are still payable. You know, you can present them to the government, they still have to pay you for them. When the interest ends, I don't know, or if they actually are redeemable. Let me just call somebody up who will know.
Okay.
Okay? Let me get him down here, he will look at this, and he can probably answer every question we got, and then he'll just go on for like another half hour about this stuff. This is a promissory note.
I know about these.
I mean, the neat thing is it's during the Mexican-American War.
Well, that's kind of understandable. One of the things about the Mexican-American War in American history is that we didn't have enough money in the Treasury to fight the war. So we had to take out loans from our own people. We had to borrow the money in order to fight the war. We didn't want to go to war. Polk didn't want to go to war. He was the president at that time. And there was a big controversy over whether the Nueces River or the Rio Grande was the southern border. So we went to war and actually took Mexico. Now, the treaty that Polk agreed to was they would give back Mexico to the Mexican government, but we would buy the Southwest for $15 million. So the war was a very important war in our history.
I told you to just keep on talking. Is this a valid U.S. note here?
Let me take a closer look here. United States promises to pay 1 year after date to Mr. D. Nuts.
Sorry.
So order $500 with interest at the rate of 5 2/5 per centum. So they could have turned this in and it would have been worth 1 year of interest.
Right.
The interest for 1 year doesn't accrue for infinity.
No. They were smart enough to figure out, you know, if somebody sticks this in a box in the attic and somebody finds it 170 years from now, we don't want to pay for it.
Okay. Is this note redeemable?
No. And it's not an original.
Okay.
This is a copy of the promissory note. You look at the writing here and the signatures were done by the same person who wrote this. And you would not see that if it was an original note because each of the signatories would have individually signed the note.
Well, it makes sense because, you know, if you're going to send off your paperwork, you need to make a copy of it. And back then they didn't have, couldn't scan it and print it out, you know, or use a copy machine. If you made a copy, you wrote out a copy.
And that's exactly what we've got here.
Thanks for busting my bubble.
Sorry about that.
you.
Good to meet you. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Even if it was an authentic promissory note from the Mexican War period, as I understand the law, you could not turn it in today. It is no longer valid. The final ones were called in 1869, and then after that, they were invalidated. They were demonetized.
Unfortunately, there's no historical significance here. This was paperwork that was signed by a general that was doing something in the war. If it was anything like that, it would be worth money. So I'd be willing to offer you basically nothing.
Looks like Mama's not getting her diamond ring.
Nope, looks like no private jet, dude. All right. Thanks for coming in, though.
Thank you. I think I'm going to keep on researching this because even though it may not be worth something today, I'm sure I can find a buyer for it eventually.